Hey, so the game's at 8.
Hey, great Wednesday morning, great Wednesday evening. Sam does has no concept of what time is, and you just blurted out actually as we were starting on. I think you were asking about a soccer game.
Yeah, it's at 8, right?
Uh, I
It
think
should
so.
be.
Frankie, you remember?
It was at 7:30. Probably like a 2 hour game, so it's probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from being over.
Well, wasn't it just more of an exhibition type of game stuff?
Oh, no! I'm not talking about Bronzer one. I'm talking about the one for you were gonna watch on Sunday.
Oh, Los Tigres.
Yeah, because they're gonna play the best team from the country,
I
which is Santos.
Los Santos Laguna.
Yeah,
I did not know that Santos Laguna was the best team in the country.
heck yeah, it is. It beat Cruz Azul 4-0.
I I don't think they've ever been good. And I like Santos Laguna actually. I like their jerseys. I've always wanted
Dude,
to have their
it,
jerseys.
it's
I
up
mean,
there.
they're like 1,000 times better than El Cruz Azul.
It's up there with America and Chivas and everything.
Yeah, America sucks. And the only one, and the only person I know here that likes Cruz Azul is Frankie, or maybe not.
So how's your day going?
I'm doing okay. Let me say one of the things we've got Teresa Saavedra here, which is an amazing thing. One of the things that I noticed at church, that unlike all y'all heathens, I actually go to church, and I went to church today, and everyone and their mother was coughing. It seems that everyone at church is sick. And then I think Frankie was on there on Monday saying how there was an increase or a jump in numbers, and how hospitalizations were a little bit on the rise as well. The deaths were so, but the numbers are going up. What's going on, Dr. Saavedra?
Yes, unfortunately, there it feels kind of deja vu, if you will. There are number increases. The IDEA school system had started this week. They started their, teachers back, a few weeks ago. The Los Fresnos will start Monday. BISD, of course, starts Tuesday, and everyone decided they wanted to go on family vacations this summer. So even if your flight got canceled, you still tried to make at least the flight. You attempted to make your flight, and just because we're just trying to get used to what it's like with life without a mask, we're going to see that exposure go up because we're not masking. I mean, that's the power of the mask. Remember, everyone says the masks don't work. There was a lot of debate on that. Well, debate no more. We will absolutely see numbers increase, everyone. We need to be careful about our hand washing. Number one, make sure you're washing your hand. Good regular hygiene practices are still applicable. Put your cough into your elbow. The same things that applied before still apply now, even without the mask. And if you're sick, stay home. The unfortunate part is, remember, COVID still hits, and so does flu by that way, because we're seeing flu early now. I myself just got off a unfortunate bout with COVID and flu, unfortunately. Yeah. It wasn't as bad. It was actually, I think, worse with flu part than it was with COVID, thankfully. But we're all going to get it a little bit here and there at some point because the variants are just highly contagious. So please use good hygiene practices, common sense. If you are sick, be nice to your neighbors and wear a mask. And remember that definitely COVID is not gone away. We don't know how the variants will mutate. We don't know when that mutation will become a threat again. So I don't want us to lose our vigilance, if you will, to make sure that we're, at least doing some of the common things that we know that we have been doing before. So.
Oh, just people need to make sure that they do what they know works.
So Washing your hands is there. If you have a cough, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but we're number one in the whole United States for allergies. Yeah, not a great number one to be, Erasmo. Not a great number one. So McAllen, number one in the entire of the United States for allergies. We have the highest allergy. Hi, Coach. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so we're number one on that. And in a lot of the things, is it COVID? Is it allergies? The one thing that you will know when it's an allergy is itchy, watery eyes are very specific to allergies. You can still get sneezing, unfortunately, with COVID. You can get co-infections. You can have allergies and COVID. So there's a lot of things that kind of lap over on that. But, making sure that you don't wait. If you think you have a couple symptoms, don't wait a week to go see your doctor or your provider, please. Go and take care of it early. Don't wait until it's late. They're now classifying COVID into mild, moderate, and severe. Obviously, the severe are going to be the ones that hit the hospital. The ones that we want to take care of outpatient-wise are mild, are the ones that get barely symptoms, maybe a cough, maybe congestion, but nothing major. The moderate are going to be the ones with shortness of breath. So if you start getting breathing problems, that's a little more moderate, and you might be infecting people a little bit more. Those aren't the people that get to stay home 5 days and mask for 5 days, because good old days, we used to do a 10-day, stint. COVID's changed. Now we can only stay home about 5 days. So that's good, but we have to count the first day you got symptoms is day 0. So you have to start from the time you got symptoms and then go 5 days out from that, basically the moment you got symptoms. So you got that first day is only 24 hours after. So technically there's a day 0, day 1 through 5. So it feels like a 6th day, but it's still 5. It's just, you got to have a whole 24 hours to equal a day. So it's a little bit tricky. That's where we just need to be careful on making sure that we're quarantining when we need to quarantine. Make sure to go get tested. If there's a lot of home tests out there now, so you can self-test. So that's really pertinent. And if you do need treatment because you do think you have COVID, Paxlovid and Molnupiravir are 2 treatment methods right now. The Molnupiravir is for the kidney compromised, and the Paxlovid is for the majority. It's a little more effective, but they're both free. The government pays for that. So don't wait to get treated. Something that's coming that I know that will probably be a question that I'll just kind of put out there is that there is the big discussion about rebound COVID. I unfortunately, again, was one of those people that got that rebound symptoms. So after I did my course of Paxlovid, I thought I was great, went back to work, did my 5 days at home, came back from, with my mask. I was, in it to win it back, helping to take care of patients, but with my mask on. And then I got for the first time ever, a migraine, and it was really, really bad. Really severely bad, debilitating bad, where you can't have light anywhere, you can't really move very well. And for all of the migraineurs out there, I already knew that you guys were strong, but dang, it was really rough. So there's rebound symptoms that come, and the debate's still out on whether that's coming from Paxlovid or if it's just COVID. Because you can get post-viral symptoms where you can get symptoms like you had from the beginning of the virus again after you've healed, and that's just common immunology knowledge that sometimes viruses will kind of come back and you'll get some similar symptoms that you had before. So there's still a lot of debate on whether that's the Paxlovid that we're taking or whether it's the COVID virus itself. So, but more or less, still, just make sure that you don't wait too long, because I think the people that wait a long time are going to unfortunately get the sickest. And I got COVID and flu at the same time. We are seeing COVID and flu at the same time. So
Doctor, in regards to during the pandemic and now, we saw a large increase of hospitalizations during the pandemic and unfortunately deaths. What seems to be the reason why has this strain not been as strong, or the vaccinations have they helped in regards to the high increase of not having hospitalizations nor deaths?
I absolutely 100% contributed to amazing vaccination. And for us doing our part in trying to create good hygiene and good practices. I mean, each one of us, did what we could, and either we stayed home in the very beginning, or we masked up if we were going out, or we started, doing our hand sanitization, carrying a lot of, alcohol with us to hand sanitize regularly, and did a little extra stuff. But definitely being vaccinated was a game changer in this COVID fight. So believe that if we were still, because I got COVID when I say when it wasn't cool to have COVID that first summer. I'll never forget it. It was right after the 4th of July, and there was nothing to take. So it was like, hope you don't die, Dr. Saveja. Hope you do well, and hope you don't do anything that you don't get any symptoms, and that you just hope for the best and prayed for the best, and that was it. There was no treatment, there was nothing. There was just treating the symptoms, and that was completely it. And every one of us were really scared, and thank God that now we don't have that. We have treatment, and what that took? It took an amazing amount of scientists coming together, researchers coming together, people sharing information across the aisle, pharmaceutical companies definitely stepping up to the plate, and a lot of clinical trial research. So
Well, one of the comments that came up was in regards to, and I'm not sure if it was a serious question, but in regards to COVID will mutate with HIV positive people. But what I was getting to was because of this one. What about monkeypox? Because did I read correctly that monkeypox was actually affecting the LGBTQIA community a little bit more than the straight community?
yes, and I got this question recently from a patient as well, that it was in the news about monkeypox being amongst homosexual community, homosexual males specifically. It just has to do with sex practices. I don't know if it's Facebook appropriate, but there's certain practices that predispose them more to getting monkeypox than those that don't practice that. So that's why that community ends up getting the more likelihood of them getting the monkeypox than say other groups of people. It's not that none of us are capable. It's that they just have those certain practices that make them more prone. Sexual practices, I should say.
Well, I should be okay.
I hope so. Yes, I think we all should overall be okay.
I should
But
be.
I don't think I've heard yet of a monkeypox outbreak in Cameron County. The moment I do, you guys will be the first to know, because I mean, if you've looked at the photos on monkeypox, it's a scary looking disease. It looks very scary, and I hear it's highly contagious as well. But we've coexisted with diseases pretty much all our life. I mean, we have good bacteria in our body that we coexist with all the time that actually are beneficial to us. So whether we know it or not, we've been coexisting with bacteria and viruses and whatnot for quite some time. Just which ones help and which ones don't.
I'm still fighting to be the only individual ever never to get COVID. That is my goal, and as of yet, I've been doing really, really well at it. It seems like everyone else around me is just getting COVID. Papa got COVID. He still has COVID.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So he's one of those that's it doesn't exist. It's not real. But he's old.
You're just asymptomatic.
Yeah, he's just old. And the my assistant got COVID. She actually took one of my tests, one of my order the free test, and came out positive. And I said, "That's what you get for hanging around other individuals that are positive." That other little girl, I was telling Sam, it's not Deborah, was positive. And I'm going like, and she was trying to get close. I said, stay away from me. And I think that they thought that I was joking. I said, no, I'm not joking. I haven't protected myself all this time to have someone rub up against me that's COVID positive. And they're like,
Mm.
come over here and Moco, she got COVID.
Yeah, there's I think people are getting a little lackadaisical, and I've said this before. I will say it again. We're a gateway. We're a gateway in the Brownsville area. We're at the border. We're at the frontera. So we need to be careful because there's just different hygiene practices when you cross the border. Different people that come through that are not even from Mexico. They're from the Latin American countries further south, and because of that, with no, it's not because of Latinos. I love Latinos. It has to do with just the fact that when you come and you do a long trek from a different country, depending on where you came from, you're gonna see a lot of different people and pick up stuff, and that's just what happens. So I mean, I unfortunately read a chilling article, I think even last night, that they're finding that there's a lot of like dead bodies at the border. Did I read that? Did anybody read that article? That they're finding like that more in the Biden administration than ever. Like that they keep finding more dead bodies, and I don't know. I think it was Del Rio. I don't know if it was Brownsville was number one, but I know Del Rio was discussed in that article. So we're kind of a big deal in Brownsville, which we know, because we always get to be a hot topic on the national news, whether they say Brownsville or not. But we already know because when they put the photos of the gate up, the wall they call it.
Well, those numbers started to increase after after Clintons visited the area for some reason.
Wow.
But going back to, did you see the PUB post stating that the businesses are all subject to water restrictions? Car washes will be here in stage 3. Yes, I did see the PUB post. I think what alarmed me a little bit more was Los Fresnos has actually gone up to a stage 3, and
Wow.
that again, that just tells me that sooner or later, I mean, Los Fresnos isn't plagued with as much small business that consumes as much water as the city of Brownsville does. Let me tell you, one of the things that I put up a post in regards to the different cities out there. Brownsville has car washes like at every other intersection. Have y'all seen that? They're popping up everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, I did see they were building another car wash. Yeah.
they deal in water.
Well, we do have about what 200,000 individuals within Brownsville.
Uh,
No, I just looked at the demographics, my friend. It is 200. That we are a big deal.
I would
Yeah,
I would
they're
Elon Musk knew it. He's been
Brownsville.
doing the stats for a while.
I would say we're closer to 300,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
For
but what I've seen about the car washes was that they supposedly they filter their water, like they use it for a little bit, they filter it, and then they just once after so many
Like they use
cycles,
it.
get I guess tossed out and a new one comes.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening, Frankie.
It's hard to gauge, but yeah, we are in a drought, and then we're sending water to Monterrey. It's just a little bit weird, but hopefully hopefully it rains, and especially for Los Fresnos, my mom lives in Los Fresnos, so hopefully they're able to increase the amount that are in the water in the what is it, the Amistad reservoir. So hopefully we get rain.
Well, Los Fresnos is growing. Los Fresnos is getting, a lot more new residents in the area. It's expanding. The beautiful new town hall and, the fire department that have been there, and now the communities that are coming up, they keep building. So they're expanding, and there's going to be some, great needs there. So.
Well, I think we are. What about monkeypox? Should we worry? I heard there were cases in Texas. I think that there was one case, if I'm not mistaken, someone correct me, in either Harris County or in Corpus Christi.
I want to say it would likely be Harris County. That's the Houston area. It tends to happen more often in the big cities with the hubs for flights. That's where it's probably going to happen most often if it comes across to the state. but we haven't gotten a ton of it, thank God. I think there's more in, I want to say New York City, I want to say was one of those areas that was more of a hot spot, but I don't remember where it's gone to at this point.
I don't think that. Again, I'm not a doctor. I only pretend to be one, but I don't think that there's any data in regards to monkeypox mutating with COVID. Uh,
I have yet to hear anything like that, and I would love to never hear that. That is a very scary thought. Thank you, Miss Lamas. We'd love to see you. Like your name.
uh, let's see. It makes sense that the number of deceased along the border increased not only due to the common dangers of the long, difficult, and exhausting conditions of the trip from Central America to Mexico. Yes, let me say that that's one of the things that I think a lot of folks haven't factored in. And going back into our population, we do have a lot of influx of individuals that are here that never get mentioned on the census anywhere because of lot of fears that exist for individuals thinking that they're going to get rounded up and sent back to their country. But in regards to the deaths, I'm a little bit more concerned that it seems that we're getting a higher level of crime going on here locally than that was happened before, or we're being better at reporting it. They
Yes.
recently had an attempted kidnapping, and they arrested three of the six guys. Is that correct? Three of the six guys out there. I mean, when's the last time that we
There was
heard?
a girl involved, so it's like five girls and a five guys and a girl. Not
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's just a constant. I mean, it seems like with Kimberly, started with Kimberly downtown, and then we had some other attempted kidnapping. I think Frankie made mention of it on his show in regards to that little family. I I kind of thought it was kind of like the Munsters or something, or the Adams family. Going out there, they go out there and they try to kidnap this 17-year-old girl, Frankie. What was it?
Uh, no, she was of age. It was just that she stole from them, and they either were trying to hurt her, but the allegations were of kidnapping. But crime has increased. We don't really hear it reported as much, but yeah, it is there, and we are starting to see it a lot more. It is more prevalent.
Oh, again,
Are you
my
talking about the one that got caught like at 2, 3 in the morning?
that one.
Oh,
Yeah, that
okay.
one was the
Yeah,
one.
she was already over age. It was like 19, 20 year old. The kid was 17 and he was with the
Oh,
parents.
that's
Like
the
the
that's right. The child was 17. He was one of the kidnappers,
yeah.
and they
Wow.
still consider him an adult. It's everywhere.
It just is. I think it's more or less, if anything, just a little bit more crime. It's just that now there's Facebook and everything else that gets reported. So now you're able to see it more. Before, by the time you see it from the Brownsville Herald and find out about it, it'll be a couple of days after. Now we just see it at that same moment when it's happening.
That's a great point. Same thing happens with COVID. Like if you look at the statistics, whenever they're reporting the COVID cases, they're a couple of days old because some people are reporting a little late because again they're waiting 3 days, a week sometimes because they think they had allergies or they thought they had just something simple that was going to go away. So there's a lot of delay in reporting. So, and there's also bias in the news. So there's going to be their spin on it. So we all know that we have to try to look at the facts for ourselves.
What would you recommend, doctor, in regards to travel, whether here or across overseas? Is there a certain I don't know protocol that one should follow?
I know at this point they're not requiring masks. I am seeing individuals that took a flight and now they're not requiring masks, and you do have to be in a enclosed compartment for up to a couple hours or longer, depending on if you go transatlantic or not. So definitely, first of all, the question is, should you actually go or not? Are you sick? Are you immunocompromised? If you are, you may want to consider sitting that one out and not going, on a longer trip that takes more than, 45 minutes. Remember, anytime we have more than 15 minutes in close contact and the airplane is a specific time where there's, recirculating air, And if anybody has COVID on that flight, almost everybody's getting COVID on that flight, especially if you're not masked. Then that's the drawback. But if you're like, you know what, I'm sick of COVID, I'm willing to take the risk because I can't do it anymore. I mean, I know that there is just some overload of people having to mask up for it for a long time now, and it's 2+ years into the pandemic. So I think what I'm seeing locally is that we're all willing to take a chance to just get a chance to look at each other's faces again. So we're all kind of seeing how it goes with just not masking and seeing if it's really that bad. Before we were super fearful, but now we have treatments. So thankfully, it's not as deadly as it was in the beginning. And we're definitely seeing people that, I mean, I really don't see a lot of hospitalizations. It's very few. It's the more immunocompromised that really have to be careful. That's your transplant patients, severe infections, HIV patients. Those are the patients that are going to have to be careful and make some very important choices on what they want to do. But for the rest of us, it's as far as airports and going through those flights. I would say if it were me on that flight, I would, see if there was something really important coming up, make sure I took my N95 and then, kept up with hygiene practices. And then I know a lot of your countries that are, if you're doing anything across the Atlantic or out of the country, they're going to have requirements for testing for COVID prior to. We went to the Bahamas in March, and that was awesome, but definitely had to make sure we had our P's and Q's. We were on our P's and Q's, and we got our COVID test before by a certain day. So you need to know the travel restrictions involved, for that country. And then know on the way coming back, because we actually had to be tested in the country we were in, and on a certain time before you got to your flight in order to get on the flight. So they may be loosening those restrictions, but every country is a little bit different. And don't assume that, just because you went to country A, that country B has the same thing. They're all independent of each other. So do look at the travel guidelines, because you can waste a lot of money that way. And that's kind of important, but I think there's going to be just a certain, right now the prediction is in the fall that we're predicted to get about 30% rate of COVID and flu. And, they've been kind of on point with that group to predict the summertime, increase that was there. So basically we need to continue to, like I said, do what we're doing. And, I know that people are going to take their risks and take their chances, but expect that you're going to need to act quickly and, be good friends with your providers and make sure to call in quickly with that.
Well, one of the things that I'm glad Frankie mentioned international travel, because I am going to Egypt. Well, I'm going to Colombia this month, but that
Take me with you. I want to go to Colombia.
is beautiful. But I've already been there. I've already done the thing, so I'm not too concerned about Colombia. But next month I will be going to Egypt, and I did learn because I did a little online research, and they require like a lot of weird vaccines or shots and stuff.
Every country, when it comes to travel medicine, it's very interesting. The CDC again is the authority when it comes to making sure that you're appropriately vaccinated. So you'll notice that the CDC is about keeping public health at a premium, and though they are the forefront of knowledge about that, so they keep up our guidelines on that. And yes, it just depends, because it may be certain to a specific area in the country that you're going. So they may make it specific to a region on whether you need to get vaccinated, or it may be just as a statement for the entire country. Usually, most of your primary care doctors are going to have your basic, tetanus, shingles, pneumonia, and flu when the flu season comes out. But for some of your zebras, if we will, that are your, yellow fever, dengue, different vaccinations like that. The CDC, not the CDC, I'm sorry, the health department, excuse me, will be your best bet, the local health department. And last time I called them, which really wasn't that long ago, it was $8 for
Oh,
a
yeah.
vaccination. They are very inexpensive, and they have some of the more unique ones that are harder to carry because they're the authority.
Well, I'm going to call your office tomorrow, set up an appointment to get all that taken care of, and whatever I can't get with you all, I guess y'all can direct me to where to go to get
Absolutely.
all the rest. Because yeah, some of the stuff that you mentioned, I think yellow fever or something, and a lot of stuff that I think that we over here on this side of the world have absolutely, you know, no concern about. Would be kind of interesting. And just to put Chuck's mind at ease, I am going with my dentist.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
Going to the dentist.
and doctor, now that you are my doctor, I might decide to say, "Oh, I'm going with my doctor to India or something." Hmm.
Oh, I'd love to go to India. That would be amazing.
I believe that
Traveling is fun.
that's going to be one of my next trips. I do want to go see the Taj Mahal and do want to visit Mumbai and Taiwan.
So, Erasmo, let me ask you a question. I usually get a lot of questions, but I want to ask you, how do you not get sick on your flights? Because I know you travel pretty regularly.
It's one of and I tell people this, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people think that I'm very, very social. Like I'm always with around a lot of people. And Frankie and Sam know me. I tend to stay by myself. I work in an office where I'm like 20 feet from one person who now is going to be not coming until she gets better. But I spend my time by myself. I walk a lot when I go to different parts of the world. I go to see this different sites by myself, and it freaks a lot of people out because I was literally in Peru, and I went to Machu Picchu, and then I went to La Montaña de los Siete Colores, and the people go, "How many in your group, sir?" And we're like, "Me." By myself, and they were like, "You're by yourself?" I go like, "Well, yeah." Some of us don't like to be around people. But I'm not antisocial. I go to events, but I stay at events for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and then I disappear. I do my best to disappear. There was some political events the other day, and I mentioned this to Frankie or Sam or both of them, and it was Judge Cascos had an event. Had a band come down, and I stopped by, and I did a little walk around the room, which there's not a lot of people there, but I still walked around the room and made sure I like faded in the background and I split. And then I went to Judge Linda Salazar's party, and that one was wonderful for me because I got to see her outside. I said, "Hey, Judge!" I walked in, picked up some candy, and split. And then I went to Broken Sprocket, and I did the same thing. Some friends there. I think John White was there. I'm not sure. Some other folks. I did my tour. Said, "Hey, hey, hey, hey," and I split. And in the mind of people, and this is why social media is so powerful. In the minds of people, sometimes people come up to me and go like, "Hey, that's what it's me," and I'm going like, "Oh, who are you?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's me, He-Man." I'm going like, "Oh," but social media makes it seem like you're in their living room every morning and every evening.
And
So
it's
it
powerful in a good way, and I think our community is very resourceful. And I like the fact that we utilize Facebook as a good platform to share information. So yeah, it's a good point. Facebook is it's very good. It can be a double edged sword if you're not doing the right things, but for those that want to try to help the community out, it's very nice way to get some good educational things out.
well just it,
Speaking of which, I do have a health fair coming up on Saturday. That would be the 13th of September from 10 to 1 over at Headlands Research. I think I mentioned last time that I'm part of clinical trials work that's uh, helping to bring Brownsville not just more education, but also potentially be involved in new cutting edge technology that they actually get paid for and get to utilize for free. So that's awesome. But we're holding a health fair on how to get healthy and how to stay healthy and well. And I'll be talking about longevity and how to get to 100.
That's, Frankie needs that. 'Cause,
Yeah. So
Frankie's already 15. He looks horrible. Um,
Was that the fair with clinical trials about the fatty liver?
So there's a couple of different locations for and different research. There's actually like a lot of clinical trials going on about fatty liver. I think we spoke a little bit about last time I was on. And fatty liver in Cameron County alone is 4 times the amount that it is in the United States. So we absolutely need to
Or gotta
have
get
fatty
that?
liver on our radar. So, but there's many fatty liver trials that are there. Headlands Research does not have a trial such as that yet, but we are doing free fibro scans, which are your to detect what stage, if any, if you're in fatty liver disease or not. And then we give those results to you. You take them to your primary care doctor and make sure that you know that you have a healthy liver. But we offer those for free, every Monday through Friday, all day long.
well, Sam doesn't only have to worry about the liver.
What's that? Say,
I've seen his picture at the beach without a
Like
shirt.
overall health, not just the liver.
Overall fatty.
Aww. I that's Erasmo. That's called fat shaming.
No, no, no. I've seen his picture at the beach. There's no shame in his game. No,
So
he's getting better. He's getting better. And let me say, I actually started to lose more weight since I started to go with you.
yes,
Yes, that. It's okay if I say that what I'm taking, right? Yeah.
you can self-disclose information at any point that you want to, Erasmo, and
So,
I will be okay with that.
um, uh, I'm a prison or something or
Ozempic.
that one. That
Yeah.
was that.
I just heard from my bestie that it's all over TikTok now. My unfortunately my husband doesn't let me onto TikTok because he says that it's not secure because he's an IT guy that deals in securities. So, but yeah, they say it's all over TikTok now that how much weight that's been lost.
Well,
Uh,
I got
uh,
a
Ozempic's an amazing medication, very, very good. I want to bring up a moment of controversy. This is a little soapbox talk for, if you'll allow me for a second.
yeah.
So, in my world, in the medical world, why True Health Family Clinic exists is because we want to eliminate obesity. So that's why my heart palpitated a little bit, Erasmo, when you were chiding Sam. So, but Ozempic, most people will think of Ozempic and they'll think diabetes because Ozempic is well known to be a diabetes medication. But and Ribelsis, they're both the same medication. But what many people don't know, because it's not as easily to see in Texas right now, because it's so hard to get, is not many people know that Wegovy exists, and all three of these medications are the same medication from Novo Nordisk. So the soapbox talk here is insurance companies are declining for me to get patients Ozempic, but they say it's not indicated for it. So what they do is they say, oh, it's only for diabetes. It's not for weight loss. But Wegovy is for weight loss, and it's the exact same med. So go figure on why Washington's allowing the insurance groups to say that it's not for weight loss when it absolutely is. So it's really annoying. It's kind of almost to a point where I want to actually go and do something about it. So I think I'm going to start being a little bit of a thorn in the side of Washington on the healthcare side, because I do think obesity is killing us at a very quick rate comparatively, because I'm seeing the reversal signs of obesity and how great it is. But man, what we give up when we keep weight on is tremendous. I mean, our sugar levels get worse, our blood pressure gets worse, we lose sleep, we get fatty livers, even you're more likely to get cancers when you're overweight and obese. So for the insurance companies that know that, and they know this, they know that Ozempic can give you a great and tremendous amount of weight loss. Them denying it, knowing fair well that obesity can be an indication for it, is them splitting hairs.
What's it called again?
Ozempic is the diabetes side of it, and the other side of it is Wegovy. And they're both if you look at the generic name of the medicine, it's called semaglutide.
Well, let me tell you that, and I have a confession to make. I started taking it. I think it was 3 months ago when I first started seeing Dr. Saveda, and I was actually doing it wrong because it was so trippy. I don't know if you remember Dr. Saveda, but we had a conversation. I said I haven't lost any weight, and I'm going going, but I found out that I was doing it wrong. I was injecting it, but I wasn't taking the little cap off.
We've had that happen before.
So I was
Yes.
injecting it.
Pobrecitos. So you took it for the first time, and when you finally took it, you were like, "Whoa, that worked way too well."
And then I go, "Oh, I have to take this little cap off," and then I go and I inject.
Quick question: are you able to start on those meds? Like if you have any, like you had mentioned, diabetes or high blood pressure or fatty liver. Like,
Absolutely.
does it alter your blood pressure or anything like that? Does it raise it up or anything like that? Or
No, it makes it better. So one of the beauties of Ozempic, Rybelsus, Wegovy, whichever you want to call it, is that it doesn't affect your kidney, it doesn't affect your liver. It's heart protective. It's great for diabetics. It's used as primarily a diabetic medicine. If you're talking Ozempic, Rybelsus, it's the Wegovy side of it that the insurance providers say, "Oh, that we don't need to provide weight loss management," But I mean, come on, really? I mean, it's not cool. But they all are amazing for weight loss. All of them are the same medicine. They all do an amazing job. It's just Rybelsus is an oral medicine. The Wegovy / Ozempic is once a week injectable, non-insulin injectable.
I think I've lost 12 pounds already.
Have you? Really? Good job.
Yeah.
And what I see typically when I get my patients onto this is that you will lose inches, and you may not see it on the number on the scale. So don't worry about the number on the scale, but the inches, man, it's all about the inches. I always tell my patients, say, look, muscle looks a lot sexier than fat does. So who cares what the scale says? Let's make sure that you feel like you're good in your clothes and feel like you're doing well. So yeah.
But that's surprising. You lost the 12 pounds. That has no sense. You're sitting down the whole day.
That's amazing. But yeah,
you have a kitty.
I got two office cats. But it's crazy. But yesterday, I reached the milestone in my weight loss. I officially lost 260 pounds yesterday. Officially, 260 pounds. That's crazy numbers. And I need that because I need to look this good.
I know this question's been on a little while. How do you say his name?
He-Man Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger. Okay. There are a few OB-GYNs in town. A lot of the OB-GYNs, ironically, in Brownsville are male. So it depends on if you like a female or a male. So that's usually my first question, is if you like female or male. And then after that, if if you like male OB-GYN, Dr. Gabriel Guajardo is excellent. Know him, sat down with him. He's a great guy. For females, I haven't met a lot of females. I went to Edinburgh to have my children, my two boys, because I didn't want to have C-sections. And I looked at the C-section rates and they were higher in Brownsville. So I kind of went over to Edinburgh and I went to go see Dr. Lee, Daniel Lee, who was a DO like myself, but he now is a cosmetic surgeon. So sorry, guys, you cannot go to Dr. Lee any longer. So, but there's also, depending on it depends on what their goals are, because you have to talk about C-section versus if they want to have a natural childbirth to kind of see, because there's some advanced questions in there. So it's a loaded question, but Dr. Gabriel Guajardo is someone I would say is a good place to start.
I like that Guajardo. Who has been introducing themselves as He-Man, Erasmo? He-Man, Chichenegger, Clinches, Rose with those Rosa Sam. Fatty liver is that the new taqueria?
If you like to go to the taquerias, then yes, you will have a fatty liver. So all those tortillas, guys, the tortillas, the manteca.
Go find it.
Doctor, I know it will be a hypothetical question, but based on what you've seen on the vaccination rate, the herd immunity, and these new variants, how do you predict? I guess with school starting, how do you predict our lives in the next year or so? Are we going to have to be taking vaccines every couple of years? How do you see it playing out?
Right now on the pipelines for clinical trials, I know that I believe Pfizer is coming up with a variant appropriate vaccinations that updates the COVID vaccination. I believe they're doing similar things with flu. So I know that they're trying to stay abreast of the problem with COVID and to keep us at the best chance for immunity possible. And this is what our pharmaceutical industry does every day. I mean, this is their bread and butter. They live to help make the public well, because the more they can help vaccinate the public and keep us away from diseases that turn deadly, the better we are, and we can continue to exchange, money. And the world revolves around, making business ultimately. So in the next year, I think that we're gonna. One of my favorite words when it comes to business in general is pivot. I think that pharmaceutical companies are going to continue to pivot. And when they see a new variant coming out, they're going to roll with that punch, and they're going to accommodate and start making plans to get different vaccinations. I mean, for instance, Pfizer just came out with the 6 months and older vaccination. It took a lot longer because the pediatric population is a special population that requires a lot more finesse. And it's a little trickier because, a pediatrician will tell you this, that children are not small adults. They have a whole different set of characteristics and problems that are unique to their ages. So definitely we want to, keep abreast of that. But Pfizer's already met that need, and that's amazing. So we now have from 6 months and older for COVID vaccination to get. Remember that if you do get COVID itself, or your family gets COVID, that you do have 3 months worth of immunity. But I wouldn't wait that 3 months and say, okay, I'm gonna, wait till that last day. I mean, it's a round figure. I mean, there's nothing that says that your body had to read the book and had to, it's going to be that 3 months. I would go ahead, and if you have not been vaccinated as of yet for COVID, or your children haven't been vaccinated, I would highly consider it, especially this school year, because they're not going to require masks. And, depending on how small your children are, they're going to be touching things. They're going to touch their face. They're going to touch their nose. They're going to touch desks and chairs, and while the teachers are going to do the best that they can, there's still going to be some, transmission of it. So we'll see how it goes. They're thinking it's a 30% rate because of the herd immunity, but we're at the border and we're a gateway, so we may see something different. We might get a little bit higher, but over the next year, I think that's what will typically happen. I mean, that's what the United States has been doing since the start of the pandemic is, they inform, try to be on top of things coming down the pipeline, and then move forward and try to keep the United States as healthy as possible while still trying to get business conducted. So it's very hard, and Erasmo's running for Cameron County Commissioner, and being in public service fields, it can be a challenging concept. So that's exciting. When are the times to vote, Erasmo?
We're going to have election is going to be on the 8th of November. We're going to have 2 weeks of early voting. I don't have the exact date when it starts, but it's 2 weeks right before the 8th of November. But one of the things that I think that we're starting to do now is we're actually doing a lot of block walking. We're trying to find someone to help me put up signs.
Okay.
No,
Would you like me to help you put up signs, Erasmo?
no, I was actually referring to someone other.
He was referring to that guy.
Oh.
I think.
Oh.
But hopefully, as the but we're going to do some block walking. I'm going to do a couple of different little events out there. Uh, let me tell you, I think one of the things that I've been having conversations with a lot of folks out there. I think uh, Miss Lamas was out there mentioning it as well. There's this aura going out around there. Not to call anything, but I think people are very tired of what we have, what's going on. One of the things, and I know that it's affected you, Dr. Saveda, because you have your office here in Brownsville. PUB bill is crazy. It is astronomical. And one of the things that I've shared with people, I, I can afford an extra $100, $200 of uh, electricity bill a month. I don't like it, but I can afford it. And it's really, really very sad and unfortunate because a lot of folk in our community, and I think Frankie was talking about this the other day on his show, a lot of people in our community, are paycheck by paycheck, and at times, Dr. Saveda, what's going to happen is we're going to have a lot of individuals who are going to have to make cuts somewhere, and a lot of parents, a lot of elderly people are going to want to cut on their medication, on their prescriptions, because they have to have electricity.
Yes.
There's no mercy out there in regards to what's going on, and one of the big excuses that we get is, well, it's happening everywhere, and and I always respond because I always have a response for everything. Well, not everywhere did they steal 135 million of our dollars.
Wow, that's a shame to hear about, but you're absolutely right. When the bills pile up, I mean, the inflation rate has gone up because of COVID. So the bills are going up, and say the things that are necessities like light and electricity, rent. I mean, gosh, I was just in a meeting yesterday evening, and one of the local builders mentioned that. You can't get a house for less than $200,000. They used to get it, before the pandemic. You could buy a house for $90,000. I mean, unheard of, and now it's six figures. So definitely the pandemic. I mean, it's a mixture of things. I don't think it is. The pandemic caused a bottleneck in a lot of different areas, but I don't know if PUB has that kind of excuse to make. I'm sure that there's a huge story behind where all that 135 million went, and I would definitely, as a person that is caring about their community, want to know where that money went and why is it translating into such excessive amount of bills for the rest of the community because it's impacting some of the most vulnerable. I mean, we absolutely have the poorest area of the country. Um, we are living in the poorest area of the country. So we need to be very careful because, you know, that's taking food off of someone's table at the end of the day. So
100%.
it's really important that we, you know, as public servants are able to defend those that don't know how to defend themselves. So thank you for bringing that to light.
Oh, this is one of the questions that I actually was going to ask right before Frankie interrupted me. But, but one of the questions I was going to ask was, uh, should I get another booster? Because I mean, I'm already at three. Should I go into your office and get a booster?
That's a great question. Thank you. So it depends. Right now, they only are recommending for 50 and older to get it a fourth dose, if you will, if you're a Pfizer or Moderna vaccinator for Janssen, which I'm not really sure that you can really get it easily here. It's only three. It would be a third vaccine because there was the one and done vaccine. Uh, so the 50 and older crowd can get a fourth dose or a second booster, if you will. Under that, unless you're immunocompromised, such as cancer or a transplant patient, HIV, or another reason, and diabetes wouldn't be that. They don't recommend it. So even I haven't gotten a fourth booster as of yet. I'm still waiting with bated breath to hear if they say healthcare professionals should be getting it, but they haven't come out with that guideline as of yet. But I am following it closely to see if we should be getting it. I know some people will go out and get a boost anyway out of concern or fear. Um, we don't want to just blindly get a vaccination without having a reason behind it, because remember, everything carries a risk to it. So I'm not saying that the vaccines aren't safe, but they only test them to a certain amount. So they do a specific protocol on how they test these vaccinations, and so there may be some unknowns in there, and so you're getting a fourth dose of a vaccine that we don't know how that will work out. You are kind of creating your own little experiment, and that may be something that doesn't work out well. So I don't recommend getting a fourth dose if you're not supposed to, because we don't know if it will be good or not as good, So I would just say good hand washing will go a very long way. And, because the medicines that we're making, the vaccinations we're making, are very powerful. The mRNA vehicle for getting those vaccinations is been very effective. I mean, to have, I think the rate was 93 and 95% effective rate. That's something to be proud of in the United States, that we have such effective vaccinations. So, but just be careful on over vaccinating. We don't want to go crazy with vaccination, because there is a getting too much of a good thing.
I think that
Doctor,
wants to know if he could take his 20th shot.
Let me tell
No
you,
more shots. No more shots.
there's no one that's been more vaccine than me. Curious, since everything is going up in prices, costs at the same time, are the medical services also rising their costs, including medications?
That's a good question. Being a business owner that is trying to be mindful, we have a different reimbursement rate. If you're a cash pay business, then you go through insurances, but because most medical practices take insurance, they set a rate. So it's kind of dictated to us in a lot of ways on what we can. We could bill $1,000, but the insurance is only going to pay 200. That's what we're going to get. So there's some things that we can control, and then there's plenty of things that we can't. That we either say we will take them. This is why some doctors won't take certain insurances if they realize, hey, I'm not getting the kind of reimbursement I need. I'm not even breaking even. Then that means that's why they don't take that insurance, because they realize they're losing monetarily.
I got COVID on June 21st. How long did I have to wait to get my second booster?
If you're 50 and older and you got COVID on June 21st, you have 3 months. So that would be till what, September? Yep, September 21st. And, but like I said, I wouldn't wait till the last minute. I would consider going ahead and, getting that second booster. Because as we get older, our immune systems are a little less effective, and that helps bolster it.
Uh, I'm actually interested in checking out Mark Cuban's website. I'll look at it. How come Frankie got all the looks and Erasmo got all the cheese, man?
And Doctor, if I could ask you a quick question on the business side or aspect of healthcare, what's your take on Amazon jumping into the market?
I think it's with pharmaceuticals, correct?
Yes.
I saw that, and I looked at a couple of the prices to just price it out of curiosity. And I think our local prices are still better. I mean, I actually the litmus test that I use is I go and use GoodRx and see what the typical price would be if you didn't have any insurance whatsoever and could just use a coupon, and then kind of go from there. But I don't think Amazon's prices are like bargain basement pricing. I think our local prices are actually better, believe it or not. And I'm just being bluntly honest about that. I mean, I actually really want patients to be able to get medicine. So I definitely tell them if there's a cheaper way to get it. I mean, we have patients that really need to get medicines, but I do think our local options are better and services more than Amazon does, ironically enough.
I agree. Sam, Frankie, anything other? I got appreciate you, Dr. That I know you're very, very busy and very, very tired. You
Yeah.
great, and we do greatly appreciate you. And I think Liz, one of our dentists here in Brownsville, makes mention a lot. Made mention right now, and it's always great to have y'all out here and sharing y'all's wealth of knowledge with the community. And let's do it again soon. We'll be out there Saturday at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12. Uh, if you throw some flyers my way, I'll make sure to post something.
It's 10 to 1, ain't it?
10 to 1.
Oh, 10 to 1.
It sure is. I absolutely will. In fact, I wish I would have given it to you ahead of time, but I absolutely will give you some. I actually looked down at my phone. I was like, oh yeah, I told Erasmo I was going to do that.
I'll be there for 15 minutes.
You're going to be there for 15 minutes. Oh, I want to see you more than 15 minutes. 30 minutes, okay, Erasmo? Only 30 will do.
I'll do 20. Guys, have a great, great evening. Social distance, face covering, hand sanitizer. Still believe in all that.
Yes.
You believe in all that, but you'll say 20 minutes.
20 minutes, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Frankie has a show Friday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 a.m. Guys, be good to each other. Continue to be good.
Nice.